Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So in this AFK journey video, we're going to talk about our best free-to-play team for Magmazard without Harak. So we don't have a Harak on our free-to-play VN account, but we try our best, and in this video we're going to recommend our best team setup and other potential substitutes. Okay, so first of all, before we start, let's talk about the skill set of Magmazard. So Magmazard's skill set is pretty standard. I think the most important skill to play around would be Scorching Lava, right? This ability over here reduces healing, allows your unit to take damage over time, which would potentially kill them, and also reduces the HP loss damage type. So I think units like Shemira or any unit that deals this HP loss is not as good, but the Harak turns out to be pretty decent here. So I do not know what to say about that, but Harak's damage numbers are pretty high, so it is what it is. And I think another reason why Harak is pretty good is because Harak dives around to eat up the ally, and then this could actually reduce the impact of Scorching Lava right here, because the Scorching Lava only debuffs the enemy if they stay in the area for a fixed period of time. So if they don't stay in the area, if they move around within the area itself, I think this is the reason why Harak is better. I haven't actually seen too much of a Harak replays to judge on that, but yeah, this is the skill to play around. And melee carries in general are better, or if you have a way to send the unit in front to reduce the damage onto to reduce the impact of this skill, then I think you're good to go as well. So if you're Reyna's a good choice, and I'll showcase a few teams. So without further ado, let's start with my best team over here. So we call this the Washing Machine Fresto Shred because we are using Fresto as the prime carrier with Primal as a secondary damage dealer right here. So Valeria will be providing all the stats buff, debuff onto the boss, stat steal, as well as the heals and the damage onto the boss itself. So Valeria is here for that. We have Primal with the true damage, as well as obviously the AoE ultimate for the whole team to do more damage in general. We have Fresto with the damage over time with the third skill, and also being the prime carrier, and also the fractional talent activator. So Fresto, Twins, and Reyna needs no introduction. They are like the usual trio for your fractional talent bossing activator, because they are like some of the best bossing units, and they are able to activate the fractional talent, which is Twilight Aria. So that's why we have the three of them chosen instead of like maybe Talin, or instead of Skalita, or maybe even Baron, for example. So there's another variance where you can actually run Baron, but I personally don't think that Baron's that good as a bossing unit here, and he's very costly, not very free-to-play friendly, so I don't have him built up, so I'm not going to introduce him on my free-to-play team setups here. So this is my best free-to-play team in terms of arrangement. Okay, and surprisingly, the best artifact is actually the Veil Spring spell. So these are all the different runs I have. As you guys can see, same team setup, same level, but Veil Spring spell just does more damage compared to Blade Ring, and it's actually pretty surprising because I initially started with Dragon Roar in terms of all the different runs, as you guys can see, and then I just decided to play around with different artifacts. So somehow this one was able to do better than this one. So I was like, so between all the different artifacts, once I have the best team, right, what's the best artifact for me? So I've tested these three, and I believe Veil Spring is the best because of the massive haste stats, as well as the damage that is able to do to the boss. So the haste stats is the most amongst all the different artifacts available, and there's also sufficient attack stats to give you that good damage, and quite a fair bit of physical and magical defense for your whole team to survive. So this is the best artifact for this team setup, and without further ado, let's run through the replay as we break down all the different mechanics in play. So right here, by sending in Primal, we are sending him to the very front of the boss. So this is the Scorching Lava debuff right here, as you guys can see. So the debuff is currently on Reyna, Valeria, as well as Elijah right here, but it's not on Fresto as well as our Primal. So these are our main damage source. So with that massive haste buff, we are able to activate Valeria's 4 activation circle to get this really massive buff right here. So this circle gives us that stat steal, give us that heal and damage onto the boss depending on, you know, which target the skill hits, and this amplifies the damage of all our units, as well as amplifies the tankability of our whole team right here. So when you combine that with the massive stats that Veil Spring has to offer, our units are able to survive till the end, which is quite tough for all the other teams, which we will showcase later, because the damage over time on Scorch actually eventually kills the whole team. So that's with regards to what I found out here. And as you guys can see, all the units will eventually be debuffed by the Scorch Lava ability, but because our melee units, they are all the way in front, they are affected like in terms of the debuff towards that last 30-40 seconds, right, because of that last tile itself. So this is why Pheromore being sent in by Reina is the best arrangement for this setup. So this is the formation, okay, this is the setup, best artifact, Veil Spring Spell right here. Okay, now another combination you can try is the Lightbearer Walker based team. So Walker is also pretty decent as a damage dealer outside of Harrock. So we did some testing with Shemira as well. So this was the arrangement with Shemira. So Shemira in this setup right here, as you guys can see. So instead of Pheromore, right, in terms of the one being sent in, we use Shemira right here. So by sending in Shemira, Shemira will also be debuffed last. So let's say if you do not have a Pheromore, what I can suggest is you can run this very similar setup, but replacing Pheromore with Shemira instead. And I think Shemira's damage number is still decently impressive if she's debuffed towards the end. So like by doing this, as you guys can see, she's sent all the way in front because the twins as well as Fresto actually squeezed her out. And the very first wave doesn't affect that many units, as you guys can see. So this is the most important part of the boss skill kit, which is this Scorched Lava right here. So you can see Shemira's still able to output damage here before she gets debuffed. So that's, I think, more than sufficient time for you to jam in a lot of damage. And because she sent all the way in front at this corner, she's not affected by the second wave. So Frestos, right, the Fresto and the Pheromore, because they are like melee, they walk up, they actually get affected by the debuff. Whereas Shemira, right, you can see Shemira's not debuffed right here. So this position was the position that Pheromore was sent in front as well. So that's why our Pheromore is able to do more damage in the other team setup. So that's why I say the ultimate is really, really important, or the important thing to play around. So I guess the important units would be Reina to reposition your units. I guess if you're using the Celestial Hypogeum Factional Talent, then Fresto as well as Twins super duper important as well. So even for this team right here, as you guys can see, pretty similar to the previous team setup, but we weren't able to survive. So that's that, right? Valeria actually does a lot in terms of survival. So that's for the Shemira team. Okay, so I think for the replacement for Pheromore, you can do Shemira, right? So you can do Shemira, Valeria with the trio in terms of the Celestial Hypogeum. So that's one team setup you can try. The next one is the Lightbearer one. So the Lightbearer team setup that I found the most success with is this one. So every single day I'm like trying different arrangement and different teams, but this one is the best for me. So we are using Walker as a prime carrier, with Pheromore being buffed up by Hugin. Hugin has the buff from the twins, and then our Sonya right here is able to give us more stats onto our Walker to hit even harder, and also more attack onto Hugin to amplify the effect of the shield. So this is the damage distribution. So Pheromore as well as Walker doing pretty good damage. And without further ado, let's run through the replay. Okay, so our Walker here has the prime carrier buff. Our Pheromore also has a prime carrier buff. So prime carrier does more damage against the boss. So for this team right here, we do not have that Reina sending the unit to this right corner right here, but Sonya's able to squeeze herself to the other side. So later on you see the second wave of Scorched Lava or the lava field not affecting Sonya in this corner. So this corner where Sonya was standing is pretty important to give your unit more damage. So that's why in the previous scenarios, Shemira as well as Pheromore, when they got sent into this location by Reina, it actually increased their damage tremendously because they are the last few to be debuffed by the ultimate of the boss. Okay, so that's that. And then for this team, because we have the Sonya buff on the Hugin, we have the heals from our twins, and we have the Dragon Raw spell damage reduction, we are also able to survive the full duration. But we did a little bit like less damage compared to the previous few teams. So that's that. Okay, so we're able to survive the full duration even though the damage over time from the ultimate is taking us down. So that's that. So this is for the Lightbearer side. Another combination that I think a lot of people are using is Lucius together with our dear Hugin right here. So with Lucius, I think it really increases your team survival as well. So this is another combination you can try. Okay, so that was the best for me on the Lightbearer side. But if you have Lucius built up, then I think this is another formation you can try right here. So this one is just Hugin buffing up Primal, and then you have Lucius for the additional shielding and healing for the team. So that's for this team, but the damage is a little bit lower compared to this one because this one has the additional buff from Sonya, which is I think in general just a little bit better for bossing. So that's that. So those are the few better team ideas. I think for the Graveborn side, you can do this Reina send in the Shemira combo, and I think Shemira still does pretty decent damage. So this is one example right here. And I think for Bonnie's case, you might want to replace Bonnie with another melee, I'll say Graveborn character, so that you probably can do more damage, because in this fight Bonnie actually got nerfed, got debuffed pretty early in the fight, so her damage output is pretty suboptimal. But we did the same Reina send in the Shemira trick. So Reina sending in Shemira allows her to be debuffed last, and this maximizes her damage. So I think Shemira is a unit which most people have, so you can definitely do this Reina Shemira trick in case you don't have the best unit for my free-to-play setups in general. So that's with regards to this Shemira team. I personally think the best fractional talent should be the Celestial Hypogean one with Harak, with twins with Reina, and then followed by the Lightbearer one with your Walker as the main DPS with the buffs from Hugin, as well as Sonya, and some heals from Lucius if you want more sustain, followed by the Graveborn one. So Graveborn one has Shemira backing her up. So yeah, I think building around Shemira is also okay, but I think you will need Reina in the team for her to be sent in to reduce the impact from the Magmazard ultimate. So that's with regards to all the different free-to-play team ideas. I'll still be testing out like the better teams in the next few days for my VN account to see whether or not I can find a better team setup for Magmazard. But if not, that's pretty much it for this best free-to-play VN team from my own VN account. And thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!